Do you feel like you took a wrong turn in life? Welcome to Tomorrow's Motivations, where we talk with people who educate, motivate, and captivate you with inspirational stories. Here's Dontrell.
Thank you and welcome. Today I'd like to introduce my next guest, Bradyn Tebbs. Bradyn Tebbs is a self-described family man who has been married to the love of his life for 15 years. He is the father of 5 amazing girls, and he says, yes, being a father to girls is the best. He is a small business owner for over 12 years. He likes to make small improvements in his life consistently. He says his life isn't overly exciting, but he finds joy in the small moments of life and tries to be consistent in recognizing all the good that surrounds him daily. He loves playing sports, writing, and spending time with his family. He's involved with his girls' activities, which include swimming, cheerleading, tumbling, and music lessons. He also enjoys the time he gets to spend driving them to and from their lessons, practices, and cheering them on at their competitions. And without further ado, here's Bradyn Tebbs. All right, Brady, thank you so much for reaching out to me and doing this interview. I am so glad to have you on the show today.
Yeah, you bet, Dontrell. I'm happy to be on the show, my friend.
Yes. I can honestly say that it is one real treat to be able to not only have you kind of talk a little bit about yourself and your personal experiences, but just to really reconnect after so many years of, first meeting and then not seeing one another for a long time and then having a little short time together before I relocate to another place in the country.
Hey, the good thing is good friendships, they cross the span of time and places, and you can pick up right where you left off, right?
Amen, brother. Especially right now. This is a good social distancing practice, and we're still as close as ever. I love it.
That's right, man. That's how it works.
So, yes, and I know, just for our listeners out there, it's been definitely a good long weekend, and work and everything that you do is so much more. I think I can use the word intense because of the nature of your work being in insurance, and with all of the chaos going around with this coronavirus, and just how life has changed so much. It seems like every day something new is being applied to how we're supposed to coexist. I really appreciate you giving me the time when it's almost midnight in your area.
No problem. My office is really close to where I sleep right now, so it's a quick commute.
Well, good. And so, since you obviously have a great attitude, and that's something that I've known you to have, and having the pleasure to work with you in your small business where you focus on insurance, you seem to just already have and always have a good outlook and positive outlook on life. So, even in this time right now of, the confusion and in some cases fear, how have you personally been able to define success for yourself, and how has it helped you to navigate these rough times?
Gosh, how do I define success, and how has that helped me navigate? And that's a good question. Deep question, but a good one. I'd say, I guess personally, how I define success is, can I sit with myself in a room, nobody else is around, and I feel comfortable with who I am. And I feel comfortable with the decisions that I'm making and how I'm treating people, and how I'm trying to conduct my life, how my relationship with my wife and my daughters and, everybody around me. And if I can feel good about what I'm doing and feel like I'm trying to do what's right, take care of other people, try to put other people's needs first. That's what I found in my life. When I do that, I generally am more happy. And I think that's transferred over into my business as well. Being in insurance, it's very much about, it's about my clients. If I don't have any clients, then I don't have a business. And I found that the best way to treat my clients is to try to do for them what I would want somebody to be doing for me if they were in my same spot. So that's how I try to approach generally life and also business, is just kind of that golden rule, right? We've all heard it a million times. Do unto others, and you'd have them do unto you. But really, there's power in that. There's that simple concept. It's powerful.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And that is true. I mean, it is always good to always have that self-reflection going on in your mind about how you're acting every day, and are you really like living the highest expression of yourself, even in tough moments. And I think this kind of situation brings out the best in people. It can also bring out the opposite, but focusing on doing the best that you can, I think it gives you that opportunity to kind of really self-reflect and be self-accountable in that way. And so, I can personally say I think you're doing great.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it, Dontrell. And, I think as you're talking there, one thing that comes to my mind is, you look at how difficult it is right now economically, right? How many people have lost jobs or are furloughed, or, maybe are living paycheck to paycheck, and they don't know where the next anything is coming from. It's so uncertain, right? And I just think that, it's important at times like this, one, not to panic, because it's so easy to do that. And two, to realize that our relationships with each other, they're not going anywhere, right? We're all still here. We're all still together. And hopefully we can maintain civility and really treat people like we should be treating them. Because there's no, there's no like crashed market in how kind you can be to somebody. That doesn't fluctuate with how things go in the world. You can always be kind, no matter what, regardless.
Oh, yes. Amen, brother. It's so true. I don't think anyone will ever look back and regret and say, I think I was too kind to that person.
I know that's not a mistake you can worry about making, right? It's if everybody thought that way, I think there might be less fights at the grocery stores over toilet paper right now.
Right. Oh my goodness. It's so true. It's so true. Shopping has really become like almost a spectator sport. You feel like you're in Hunger Games or something. And I'm like, I'm ready for some normalcy when it comes to that. So in your career, and you outlined kind of like you're enjoying and working with other people and being able to want to serve them and being in that mindset. What personal examples would you say you had in your life that navigated you down the path to your current career?
Oh gosh, so we're a second generation family business. My parents started our business, and they really ingrained that attitude of exceptional service and really responsibility. You're in a responsibility of trust with your customers, and I think one that starts in my home life with my parents, always bring me up that way to help me realize there is more in the world than just me, and to be responsible, to be courteous, to be kind, to be respectful, and also that there's two sides to really every story, right? And to really understand, you have to listen and you have to be aware of where people are coming from, and I think that has been really a extremely valuable part of the ethic that's been passed to me from my parents.
Mm-hmm. I would say so. I think those early examples in our life really make or break us sometimes. And we always have to choose which path we're going to follow on our own accord. But it's always helpful when you just have that, starting out beginning in a home. I know personally for me, it made a difference, having my paternal grandparents really help shape the kind of person that I wanted to be, and really being more active and trying to connect and serve individuals. For you now, what goals did you have like when you were in school? You were trying to navigate and figure out, like we all do, what do you want to do in life? Like, Did you have any specific goals that were contrary to what you're doing now?
Oh, so kind of my story, with goals. Gosh, early part of going back to high school, my goals were all centered around sports, centered around basketball. Love basketball. Come from a basketball family, and I always wanted to play basketball and had the opportunity to in high school. My dream was to play in college. A couple of my brothers did. And so, working towards that. And, unfortunately for me, my basketball road ended my junior year in high school. And that was extremely hard for me because that was everything at that point in time. So it really forced me to look a little bit deeper into life at a younger age, really focus on, who I was and what things were important in life. And obviously, you think about education. I knew, hey, I want to go to college. You think about your faith. I did. I knew I wanted to serve a mission, and so I decided that I was going to do those things, and I did them. And what I found as I was working through goals, so I went on my mission right out of high school. Didn't go to school before college or anything like that. Graduated, took the summer to just have fun with my friends and kick back and kind of get ready to go. And, off I went and realized very quickly that the mission is it's work. Just like any goal, any worthwhile goal is work. It's hard. You have to grind through days when you don't feel like doing it. You have to keep a good outlook, keep a good attitude, keep a good perspective, keep things in a good context, realize your motivations behind what you're doing. And what I learned, biggest thing is you really have to pay attention to how you feel. If you're spiritual and you have faith, which I do, I believe that our thoughts and our feelings are inspired when we're in good pursuits. Mm-hmm. We're doing something good. I feel like God loves us and he can direct us. And I learned that small thoughts and feelings are a big deal. And that really strengthened me and taught me in my mission, 2 years in Houston, where we got to be good friends, right?
Oh, yes.
Coming home, started up in school and college and university, and, you get into life. And I found that same thing stretched over, which was small thoughts and small feelings. And as I've listened to those and as I've tried to act on those, right, I've found that I've had the experiences I need to have. And oftentimes it's not what I expect. When I was thinking about what I would do for a living, my mission, I thought, I want to be a business analyst. I want to come home and study how businesses work. I want to help them improve and, maybe have the opportunity to build a business and pass it on and start another business and, kind of go through that. And I got home and going to school and my dad said, hey, why don't you come work in the insurance agency while you're going to college and, see what you think, no stress. It was never expected I would, have to stay and work in the family business. Very quickly, I found out that it was a really good thing. And a lot of the things that I wanted in a job were there. And it was interesting and fulfilling and worthwhile and was a good industry to be in. And I just listened to the small thoughts that said, hey, stay. This is going to be a good thing for you. Keep working hard. Any job you start out is you start small and you've got to build and you've got to put in your time and you've got to work on, growing into that position and growing into the success that you want to have. It just doesn't come immediately. That's one of the most frustrating things is in life, I think, is we all want things now. We want them immediately. We're used to picking up our smartphones and we want to study something or, we want to listen to a certain song or watch a certain movie or whatever. We can do it immediately, right? Mm-hmm. Goals are not immediate. Goals are meant to be, line upon line and incremental because that's where the growth comes from. So, yeah, I think, gosh, after all of that, I kind of forgot the original question. But anyway, you know, yeah, I think that's kind of how I've just arrived at where I am. Honestly, is have I set goals? Yeah, I've set goals, but
Mhm.
more importantly, I've set standards. I've
Mhm.
made a commitment that in my life I'm going to listen to the thoughts and feelings that I have, and I'm going to follow those things when they're good. And that really is my biggest goal, to do just that. And I found that as I do that, everything else takes care of itself. I know that sounds really, just really basic. And some people might say, well, yeah, but how do you plan for the future? I just have a faith that if I listen and if I follow what I'm feeling, that good things will happen. And it's happened to work that way my whole life. So I can't doubt it.
Right. I love that. I mean, there's so much there, like so many things that you said stuck out to me. And it's, I have to say, just full disclaimer, yes, I'm personally so grateful that you decided to come on your mission because, had I not had the opportunity to meet you, life would be so different in so many ways that would not be necessarily things that I would want to even imagine, because it's been so good being able to learn and grow and really get mentorship from you. So thank you, number one, for making that choice and following that feeling of inspiration to do that. And secondly, I love that you seem to have just had, again, what we mentioned before, that same optimistic attitude. When you realized sports wasn't going to necessarily be your route that you would have in life, you didn't let that bother you for long. You decided, what do I need to do? What else can I do? And it sounded like you learned very small, and you learned the value of hard work and service. And as you say, you don't plan in life, which I think is, honestly, I mean, that's huge. You always hear you should have a plan, you should be prepared. And I know that you are a very prepared person, just knowing you personally, that you really do, make sure that you dot every I, cross every T in the best ways that you can. But but how did you personally feel when you saw, by listening to your intuition and listening to that inspiration, that as you followed that and you achieved goal after goal, both in your career and personal family goals that you set for yourself, like how did that feel to have that kind of validation that came after the years of hard work?
Yeah, it feels good. And I guess I should say, on planning too, it's kind of, one thing at a time. Do I have goals? Yes. Do I have 5-year goals? Yes. Do I have 10-year goals? Yes. There's places I hope to be, and, places I hope for my family to be, and I hope to be happy all along the way. Yeah. It's one little thing at a time, and it's constant. And I think that's the thing that for me is so beautiful about life is it's constant. If you're paying attention, it's always around you. It's always there. Things can be incredibly difficult and painful and hard, and it just looks, like nothing's going right at times. But yet there's like this beauty in those moments where you can sit back and you can look at it through a lens of, what do I need to be learning right now through this process? There is something I need to be learning. There's something to learn from every difficult situation. I am a believer in that. We learn and we grow from our failures. We gain strength from times when we're hurt, and that doesn't always come easy, right? And I mean, gosh, it can be extremely painful and stick with you for a long, long time. And some things are really hard to get over depending on how they go. But yeah, it's through those moments, and also through the high moments when it seems like everything is going your way and the sun is shining just on you perfectly at whatever given moment in time. On those moments too, still staying level and saying, okay, what do I need to be learning from this? And then keeping that in perspective, Dontrell, is look, I just actually talking with my wife, Emily, about this last night for me is the concept in my life is everything that I have has nothing to do with me, because the way I choose to look at life is inspiration. God speaks to you, he inspires you, he gives you direction. And if you strive to do what you feel you need to be doing, it's all inspiration from him. We have life because of him. All of the stuff around us it's all because of him. So I can't really take credit for the highs or the lows anyway. All I can take credit for is how much I listened and how much I tried to do what was right, what I felt was right. So I try to just keep it all in perspective of just simple things. Simple things are good.
Yes. And that's a beautiful example of how you really can just focus on those important moments and those things that really matter, in the grand scheme of things, and how just that alone can really keep you going, can really keep you being able to do good in areas where you wouldn't have imagined before.
Yeah.
One thing that I thought about, especially with the world, like I said, in commotion right now with the virus going around, and so many young people are being, redirected because of this, plans that they had with both school, graduation, sports, careers. Now, what advice would you give to someone in that same boat that's right now, that you've experienced in a different time period, because you were kind of in that same boat after 9/11 a little bit during that time when you were in that age group, but like looking back and seeing what you've been able to learn, like if you had one thing to tell someone, even if it was like a client or someone coming to you because of all of this recent stuff, and they're just kind of just like, this is overwhelming, I can't handle all of this, what would be something that you would tell them immediately to kind of help them just see another perspective and how they could look forward to the brighter things?
Oh wow, that's a big question, Dontrell. Man, put me on the spot. Gosh, the one thing I will say has been really clear to me over the last 5 years in my life. I've learned this one thing, and it's something that I share with people from time to time, is that things don't have to make sense. They just have to feel right. And that will make sense if you know me, right? Like you know me, because that's how I try to live. There are decisions that I've made in the last 5 years that have made no sense. And I didn't know why I was making them. Like, why am I doing this? I don't know. Feels right. And I know over my lifetime, I know when something feels right to me that I have to do it, because that's the commitment that I've made to God and to myself and to my family. And so if you're like-minded, like me, if you've made a commitment that I just want to try to do what I feel is right as much as I can, right? I think there's a lot of people that could say that, honestly. They want to do good. Yeah, things don't have to make sense. They just have to feel right. So, if you have a thought and you think, I need to call this person today, or, maybe I should reach out to an old friend, or for whatever reason, I don't feel like I should accept a certain job offer or go to a certain college or whatever. If it doesn't make sense, think about it. Think about why it's not making sense. And sometimes you just kind of have to let go of analytics, and, you do the best you can with your knowledge, but sometimes you just have to let go and just go with what feels right. That would be thing number one. And I guess the second one was a great bit of advice I was given years ago that stuck with me, because I think sometimes we can get caught up in things and wanting a certain, status in life, right? We all want to be successful. And sometimes we push a little bit hard after those things, right? Greatest bit of advice I've received in that area is a luxury once experienced becomes a necessity. That's something that I'll think about, and I'll think, do I really want that in my life? Is it going to make me happier? Or is it just going to be extra noise that distracts me from an underlying thing I need to work on that I'm unhappy about? And just go back to basics and, work on who you are. And if you have questions in life, work on those. Don't push them to the side. Because once you figure out who you are and, why you're here, what you need to be doing, the good that you can do in life, it changes your outlook on everything else. So yeah, long answer to a short question, right? But those are the thoughts that, maybe I would share right now.
I feel such a level of peace, honestly, just hearing that, because it resonates so clearly and so well just to my inner spirit.
Yeah, it's, I find that I'm a believer that there's truth behind all things. There's truth behind everything in life. There really, really is. It's just, the world's based on truth. Sometimes we can see it, sometimes we can't, and sometimes it's obvious to see and it's easy to accept, and there's times where it's really hard to see and we don't understand it and it's hard to accept, but it doesn't change the fact that there is truth and that we can find it. And there's a truth in every situation. How should I interact with a difficult coworker? How should I settle a disagreement with my spouse or my significant other? Somebody hurt my feelings. What's the right way to respond to them? There is truth behind all of those situations, and guess what? It can be different. That's the beautiful thing in life. It can apply so differently to each of us depending on what's going on. We're not all alike. We have different circumstances and we come from different backgrounds and we've been taught different things growing up. But, when we can get away from the thought of, you always have to be right and you can't be wrong, or that's a sign of weakness, right? When you get to the point where it's, hey, I can be right or I can be wrong. I'm human. That's okay. Have I done things wrong? Have I offended people? Yeah, I'm sure I have. But have I intentionally done that? Absolutely not. No. I would say, maybe in my younger days, yeah, there were probably some times I intentionally did things to be unkind. But, as I've grown, through the years and, try to raise a family and through 15 years of marriage, I learned that most of the time I'm actually not right. And that's okay, because when you're not right and you acknowledge that, it gives you an opportunity to be humble and to learn through that experience on, okay, I wasn't right in that interaction. What would have been the right thing to do? And for me, thoughts and feelings come in and I learn real quick. The next time something like that happens, this is how you need to respond. And then I try to. And you consistently get a little bit better. Mm-hmm. And that's the point of life, is to consistently be the best version of who you are that you can possibly be.
Yes, absolutely. That is, I think, what we're all striving for. I heard a quote recently that talked about the importance of the legacies that we leave behind for the next generation. And I think it was through Oprah Winfrey, and she was talking about how when she built a school in South Africa for young girls, how she was with a mentor of hers, the late Maya Angelou, who spoke to her and told her, she was talking to her, telling her about her excitement of the school and telling her that would be her greatest legacy. And she said, Maya Angelou stopped her and said, you have no idea what your legacy will be, because your legacy is every life that you touch. And she said that she'd never thought of it that way. That was kind of like one of those eternal aha moments for her. And it made me think too, like in my own life, like that's such an interesting thing. Like legacy, you never think about it in that kind of way of it being connected to someone else necessarily. And so that brings me to my final question for you. Like, what is the legacy that you hope to leave on this earth one day? Like, what would you want people to have known you by your legacy, by the way that you lived?
Oh gosh. So I'm a father to 5 daughters. Mm-hmm. Shout out to all the girl dads, right?
Right.
So, a wonderful group to be a part of. My legacy for me is more about my daughters. What I want most in life is when I'm gone, that there's some good that they have in their lives because I tried to be a good dad, and that they're able to touch people's lives for good, touch their family, touch their friends, make a difference in the world. And maybe one day, somebody might say to them, hey, you're one of Bradyn Tebbs' daughters, right? And man, I'm just happy being the father of my daughters and husband to my wife. I just want to be good at that. I want to be great at that. I want to get better at that every day. And I feel that if I try to do that far after I'm gone, the good will have remained. And just that goodness and that positivity and that love that I feel for them so strong, I just want that to stick around. Interesting thought, if you've been to a funeral recently, right? Or you've seen anything, funerals on TV or whatever, we all have people that we admire, that we're close to, that have passed at some point, or we will. It's an interesting phenomenon to me is we don't remember the bad things that those people did. We want to celebrate their lives. We want to be grateful for having crossed paths with them. We want to recognize how they positively impacted us, right? And this is looking at life after it's gone. How many of us, when we interact with people that are here now, how many of us want to look at what they're doing wrong, being critical, being maybe a little judgmental, a little harsh, not letting go something that was a hurt, right? I just find it so fascinating that when we are gone, people tend to remember the good, really, for the most part. And so yeah, if people can remember something good I did years from now when I'm dead and gone, I would just be fantastically thrilled that they would choose to remember that. Hopefully people don't try to remember some of the bad things. That makes me feel bad. But I'm hopeful that there's some amount of good that'll stick around after I've left.
Well, you can rest assured with me that there will definitely be nothing but good memories and tributes all around from now until the rest of eternity that I can speak. So,
well, hopefully we have many, many more years to go before we have to worry about that, right?
That is always the hope, my friend, always. And I thank you not only for, again, all the wonderful things and that you do for so many in your community, but how you personally impacted me and how you've been able to, I think, really just leave a lasting legacy that you may not truly be aware of even at this moment. But I know you're going to continue to do great things, and I look forward to seeing you continue to grow and learn as I try to follow your lead in a lot of ways and how to align my thoughts and just the possibilities in this hope continuing as we go through a world of uncertainties. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man. Happy to do it. Thanks for having a good talk. It's always good to have talks like this, and you always learn from every interaction, and every little bit helps you be better you 5 years from now than you were 5 years ago, and everything gets you closer to where you want to go if you look at it the right way. So I'm grateful to count you as a friend and to have good people that surround me like you. That's the joy in life right there. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, brother.
Thank you for listening to Morrow's Motivational Podcast. Please join us again next time.
Wow, something is really different
on a growler.
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 Really different.